Good morning. Yeah. A number of you do ask me from time to time about what I do in Haiti. And I know that Marilyn in particular has said, hey, there are people who want to find out what is really going on there. So I want to start off first by thanking you for your prayers each time I go, and also the various ways in which you have reached out. And what I intend to do at this first meeting is just to share with you some of the things that I'm involved in there and some of the challenges so that you can know how best to be praying for what is going on over there. And Lord willing, at the second meeting, then I'll be talking about what I'm learning from even this experience, which relates to just my growing understanding now of what I see the call of God to be. And hopefully you'll see how that, how they all tie in. I started going to Haiti in 2008. And the first time that I went there, it was, yes, out of a desire to serve, but I really didn't know what was happening. And we had a group of orphans, there were 17 of them then. And I was excited to be with the kids, but I only spent a week, and I stayed at a hotel. So it was only when I was on there, and before we got there, of course, they were ready, and then when it was time for lunch, we would leave them and go away, then come back again. When it was time for dinner, we would pack up for the day and go. So I really didn't get to know them as people. And it happened like that, not only for the first time, but the second visit and so on. But one thing that I did learn on that first visit, though, was that we had a group of kids who would come down from the mountain to attend a school there. They were not in the orphanage themselves, but they would come down and attend schools there. So in 2009, when I went back, my colleague and I, he teaches chemistry at Northwest, we got some backpacks that we took with us for the kids, about 100 backpacks. School was out then. So when we gave out those backpacks, we saw that we still had quite a number of backpacks left. And we said, there are more students who attend this school, so where are the kids? They said, oh, you have to go to the mountain. And so we said, okay, we'll go. Just go and see where they live. And we woke up early in the morning because it gets very hot there soon in the day. And we went up to the mountain. It took us 2 hours, 45 minutes to hike up there. And when we got to that mountain and we distributed the backpacks, we still had some left. So we said, where are the kids? They said, oh, you have to go down and then go up another mountain. At this time I was thinking, how am I going to get down from here? Because I was wiped out. So that was what led us to start thinking and say, if these kids could do this every day, Monday through Friday, to come to school, then what will happen if they could have a school? And this is just one village that we went to, but there were villages in the mountain areas there. What will happen if we could get a school there for them so that they could attend that school? So we ended up, in that case, starting a school in the mountain. But then our own kids now, in the Good Samaritan orphanage, they were growing. So when they leave the orphanage, or when it is time for them to go to high school, where do they go? We started looking in the area. And there was no real close high school by. The nearest one we found that would be suitable for them will take 45 minutes by transportation They call it tap. You get on tap, and it will take you 45 minutes to get there. Then there were kids around in the neighborhood there too that didn't have a place to go, or the couple of private schools that were available, they couldn't afford it. So that was what led to the thought about, okay, we went just about 10 minutes from where the Good Samaritan orphanage was and said we will start a school there, just one classroom at a time. We had that property bought, and then in 2010, the group that went to Haiti had just returned 4 days before the earthquake happened. And so that piece of property that was reserved for the school now became a place where tents housed some of the children that were affected by that earthquake. So when I went back in that 2010 and we saw all of this, it was like, okay, what do we do with these kids here? That was how another orphanage started there. And that one now has 44 children right in it. And that's where the high school is. And so this first slide that you see here is like the first day of school. You see that they are into uniforms, they have to behave properly, and I can identify with them too. I haven't grown up in that condition myself. But here's a classroom, a typical classroom. So when I'm talking about a classroom, a building one room at a time, you know we're not talking about something fanciful, it's just something functional. But look at how crowded the students are and making the most of the condition. So this is some remodeling work that is going on now this summer. This used to be 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. This small building here was housing 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And now it's been remodeled to be a dorm, and I will explain why. And the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade now, grades have been moved up to another location. And in fact, going on to 12th grade this fall. And high school goes to 13th grade in Haiti, what they call philo. And to get from the 6th grade to 7th grade, you have to take an exam. If you don't pass it, then you don't go anywhere. If you are at the 9th grade, you have to take an exam to get to 10th grade. Then from 12th, you have to take another one at the end of the 13th grade for you to get your high school diploma. And to be able to do anything really, you need at least that 9th grade level. Mm-hmm. So this is the current high school now. Again, you can see this is just very, very basic. So each classroom there is 7th to 11th grade as they are. And new classrooms, I told you we are remodeling the original 7th to 9th grade. And that's because the dormitories for the boys and the girls are crowded now. We have 25 boys and 19 girls. It is a little bit more comfortable for the girls. Still crowded, but comparatively speaking, but even more so for the boys. So what we are doing is moving the girls to the rooms that are being remodeled now, and you'll see some of that later, and then using the present dormitory which houses the boys and the girls, using that for the boys so that each set will have enough room. And by enough room, we are not talking about each person having a room or even sharing a room, but just that you could walk between the beds and then just have access. So this is the new classrooms going up in the other area. And you can see how just to give you an idea of some of the building structures, how that goes up. So this side here is I think this, like my home computer, you can point at it that way. But this side here now, this is the toilet and the bathroom that we are adding to the classroom building, which is on this side, so that the girls now will have their own facilities all complete that way. And then here's the soccer field. Soccer is a big thing in Haiti. They don't play baseball. They are not really into basketball as such. They know about that. But soccer is huge. And just the fact that they even participated in, not making it to the advanced stage of the World Cup, but that they had a team that played. And for the World Cup, they were all rooting for Brazil. So so I can imagine how disappointed they were when things happened. And for the boys themselves, that is really what gives them something other than maybe go to school and then just stay in the orphanage. That's something they look forward to. And you can see what the soccer field is like. And this is exactly what the soccer field looks like. And you can see them in Crocs playing playing soccer. You can see them some of them just play bare feet. And again, I can identify with that. If you were to see my toes, that's why I don't participate in the pretty feet context. If you were to see my toes, you will see how mangled they have been from youth. Because I didn't have a pair of shoes until I was 13 years old. And that was because I was required to have that as part of my uniform. I was going to high school, and I had to have a uniform, and it was canvas shoes. Those of you who are old enough to know what I'm talking about. No socks. So I'll just kick whatever I could find, and knowingly or unknowingly, that way, with the pain. But these kids, this is what they are into. But the point is, for them, really, it's exciting. It's exciting. And I tell people sometimes that I grew up dirt poor, but I really didn't know it. I didn't know it. I mean, it just wasn't. Everybody around me was like that too, so it wasn't a big deal. But for them just to have that excitement of just having something to chase, I take as many balls as I can every time because of the rocks and all the other conditions there, you give them a brand new ball, and within a week, it has punctured or something has happened. So I discovered this form of indestructible ball now, although it is destructible, but it's the kind of soccer ball that even if say the tire of a car should go over it, it will just bounce back up. so that at least it will last before somebody maybe from outside steals it or something, because they are all looking for that thing there. So you see, this is a close-up view of some of the things. This is the center of the field. A close-up view. And I had to get one of the workers there to actually work on raking it and getting things, making things better. So my typical routine is that at 5:30 in the morning, the children, boys and girls, they are up. And then by 5:45, we will have devotion till about 6:45. And then the boys will get on the soccer field, so we'll do some soccer training. And then they will go and clean up and do some of their chores. And in the afternoon, I will get them together and we will do some singing. But I got some uniforms for them too, with the help of some friends. And so we took some of this picture. And when they played in their uniforms, there were 5 other kids from the neighborhood who wanted to join their team just because of they are now the elite in that section there. I told you about just what happens to yes, the boy who's told just again from playing on that field, the kind of a treatment that you would see there. And here's a goalkeeper. You can see blocks that were used for goal. And he's ready now to pass. I got, on this last trip, I got him and then another guy a set of gloves now, so that at least when he dives, he won't just scrape all his hands and so on. Then we do work with them too, more like a mini vacation Bible school or camp kind of a deal, so that they learn about Christ too, and then they do some craft. And in this case, they are making bracelets, and then some of them will have verses on it or just some other interesting things. This is a guy, this guy here, we call him Pastor Nixo. And he's from the mountain. But he really, God has just put in him a desire to preach. And to listen to him, you'll be amazed. The fact that, again, not that he's gone to not that he has had any really Bible training as such and so on, but you can see that he really has that desire. And so that's what we call him Pastor Nixo. And we are praying that if the Lord sustains that desire, we might get him a place back in the mountain where he can stay, and then where he can be in charge of the schools that are up there now, while he will also be preaching the gospel to the people in the mountain. So he likes to play the drum too. There's him on his drum. Then this one here is Stenio, and this one is Lemmy, and all 3 of them. You see them just participating in worship service and singing, and you say God has blessed them with some skills and talents too that they are using well. This one, Duvenor, and the next one, Marjorie. These are 2 kids that are aging out, just like in the States. In Haiti too, by the age of 18, you are supposed to leave the orphanage. And Marjorie in particular, she was 10 when we got her. And she's now in 9th grade, which means she didn't go to any school, nothing at all, until she came to that orphanage. And she's particularly challenged with regard to just academics in general. So the question now is that there is a vocational school that is opposite one of the hotels there, and that was started by a Christian lady too, who happens to be wealthy. But then on one day she was coming back and a group of boys waylaid her. And she realized that these were boys who participated in this ambush or whatever you want to call it, because again, they just didn't have any hope for the future. And so she tried to work with them. I think it's a Dutch group where they built some vocational school just opposite her hotel. He provided them the land there to train people, just to give them something to do in that case. And we are sending this girl there now this fall in August. That's when the school starts, and she'll be learning about just hospitality services, so that when she gets out of the orphanage, she won't be back on the street and being taken advantage of by people there. And Duvenor, the other boy before him, he wants to be a driver. And then imagine asking high school students here now, for example, what do they want to be? Not many of them will just say, I want to be a driver, readily and be eager about it. But that's what he wants to be. I was okay. We'll get him to driving school and then see where he goes after that. We have a newly hired worker, this guy here, Blanc, who grew up just being taken care of by some Americans. So he speaks good English. And English is a good thing too in Haiti. So at the school, they are provided instruction in Creole, which is the native language, in French, in Spanish, and then in English. But outside of the class setting, he will be working with them, mentoring the younger boys, the older boys, just teaching them, again, how to prepare for life outside of the orphanage. So that's his role, and also helping with translation. This is Edna. She grew up in an orphanage herself. And so again, she will be doing similar things for the girls that Blanc will be doing for the boys. So she speaks English too and does some translation. This girl here, Jasmine, she's sharp. She can read French fluently and is improving too with regard to speaking it. And she's picking up English just like that. So she's reading Bible stories now to the younger kids, to them. And they like to practice English when you are there with them. But they also have some chores that they do. And that's what these two, this one and this one here, the girl and her brother. I discovered this girl, she would come to the orphanage. She wasn't attending school. She wasn't in the orphanage. But she would just come and hang out. Then I called her one day, of course, asked somebody to help me translate, find out what is she doing there. And they said, that she's lost her parents, but she's staying with her grandmother, who was just a couple of yards away from the orphanage. So one day, I visited with the grandmother and then found out about her. And then on the next visit, talked with her and found out if she could just be attending school there. And eventually, as we recognized that she had a real need, and also her brother, because all three of them were sleeping in one small room, no bed. Not for the mother, not for anybody, just right there. So we took both of them into the orphanage. And then the mother moved away because even that place where she was staying, she could not afford to keep that. My next visit, then I took them to go visit with her. And there were a group of girls too that, boys and girls that I took to their own village to just go visit with some of their relatives. This is Marc Antoine, who is interested in painting, and this is some of the paintings that he has done. Something really exciting. Trying to make sure, keep track what time am I supposed to be. Okay, thank you. All right, I have to move on here. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Proclaimer. This is a device that is given that people can listen to the gospel in their own language, various languages. This is Grandma Claire Omen, and I visit with her. She lives in a shackle, a shanty, rather, that is made up of just tarp that the Good Samaritan, Samaritan Purse donated, and took the Proclaimer to her, and it's in Creole, and it started with the Gospel of John, and it is amazing how she was beginning to just recite that gospel. She doesn't read, she doesn't write, but she has taken so much of that just by listening. She's taken so much of that in, and she was so excited to have that. And then her children and grandchildren gathered together to do that. So during the recreation at school, the kids get together. Again, soccer is the thing they have. So the girls, when they saw that the boys have their own team, they are now asking me that they want to form their own team, and they want a girls' team. And it's the girls who are playing here. You can see the others around them who are cheering them on. So again, I'm just reading through here for the sake of time. But look at, if the girls are not playing soccer, and they are not just running around or braiding one another's hair, what do they have? This is the kind of game. So, team, you can see why I want to take the marble, the craft, this that I want to take to them, so that at least they have something else to play with. But this is what they do. That's part of their fun life. And I discovered more friends on this my last visit. Since I now stay in the orphanage, where I get to see what life is really like for them every day. There was this, every morning during school time, these kids will come and check me out. If at any break they have, they will come and visit with me. And then I started giving them candies too, so that helped a little bit. And I go about too. Like I know Kathy has given me some handbags and some others and so on and so forth that I've taken with me sometimes. So I go to the neighborhood outside of the orphanage and give things out, and the parents then come and then we can talk to them that way. So this is just some of that. In the afternoon, I meet with the boys and girls. We meet in the church building, like that, and I teach them choruses. In fact, I've been jotting down some choruses we sing here, and also I've been asking David now to get me a copy that I can take with me. So I teach them choruses, and we use that to teach them both English and also Bible instructions, because I'll ask them, now what does this mean in Creole? How does that relate to you? And they enjoy singing. They love that too. So that's one of those sessions here. This is the church service at the orphanage and what it is like. I taught them how to sing. You said you'll come and share all my sorrows, and they were excited about that. So we had a choir at just one Sunday before I left there. Mm-hmm. Anything in Haiti will take you almost a day. Just to go and get something. So the nearest town is St. Mark, which is farther away from Port-au-Prince. And we went there to look for shoes, all day thing. We have a one-room clinic there that just for emergency services and so forth. And you see how that room is decorated. As I said, some are still living in shanties. And this is the Associated Press in terms of a virus that an outbreak of a virus there just recently. So you can see the need. And before that, it was cholera and some other things that are going on. So now this is a family that I just have to take a few minutes and talk about. You know, I discovered this family a year and 3 months ago now. And this child here, when I found him, they are twins. Well, the mother had 5 children by one husband, and that husband was moving from one part of the island to the other, and he died as a result of an accident, ferry boat accident. Then she married another man and had 3 children by that man, and that man disappeared. So they don't even know what happened to him now. The last set, the twins that you just saw, when I said my twins, those 2 of them by another man, and they don't even know who that man is. So the oldest, the second oldest of the children is the one taking care of these kids. When I discovered them, and I had this boy on my hand, They were feeding him sugar water. No formula, nothing. So he was sick. He couldn't sleep. Everything. I took him to the clinic. And because they had to bring the sister along too, just as a family, I discovered too that the sister was not even well either, although she looked healthy compared to the boy. And so every time that I go back now, they are not in the orphanage because we don't have provision for little children like that. They are not. And this time I even looked into another orphanage that will take them. But the older sister now has become so attached to them that she said, at first I didn't think I could do it, but I don't want to give them up now. She left. She was in 12th grade and she quit to take care of them. So I said, okay, go back to the 12th grade now in the fall. And then she and her sister will alternate so that in the morning she will go to the high school and in the afternoon her sister will take over. So these are just some of the, sorry I'm running out of time here, but these are some of the challenges. I just to give you a quick, again, this is in their own words, nothing edited. That's why you saw the grammar and all of that you can see. Just so some of they are learning English too and wanting to write in English and practice that. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that they say to me, they will write notes and then come and slip it by your hand when I'm trying to leave and other kind of things. So God is at work. The beautiful thing in Haiti is that even as corrupt as government is and everything else, there is opportunity to speak. There is opportunity for the gospel. There is no restriction at the high school or anywhere that. Although, again, it's predominantly Roman Catholic and then with a mixture of voodoo and so forth. But then the opportunities are there. And that's why I keep going back. And the Lord willing, I'll be back there again in December. But more than anything else, I am learning. Seriously, I am learning. I come back every time and it's like, I realize I'm really a slow learner. Because it's like, how come I haven't picked this up all this time? And so, as I said, Lord willing, in the second meeting, I'll be talking about the call of God and what that looks like to me now. Not in terms of what I just used to think of it as a whole, but a little bit more than that. So we'll be in the Gospel of Matthew, by God's grace. Okay? Let's pray. Father, I thank you that you are the God of all nations, that you have people all over the world whom you are calling to yourself. Thank you that even today, in different parts of the world, some have gathered to worship you. Thank you for the souls that you have brought into the kingdom today. Thank you that there are other parts where people are still yet to come together. But again, that just speaks of your magnificence. Thank you for our own time together here and the privileges that you've given us. Help us to appreciate them. Help us to appreciate one another. And help us to just be very, very thankful for who you are. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.